Just bear with me 2 seconds. Sorry, just need to get into the right place so I can see what's happening and make sure it's all working okay. Okay, right, well, it's Tuesday the 5th of March and we've finally got some sunshine here in the UK, so it's quite a pleasant looking day. Still very chilly, but better than all the rain we've been having recently. It's starting to get people down, I think. Okay, today's Facebook Live, I'm going to be using the window sheets. Now, we sell them in the catalogue as 12 by 12 sheets, and if you haven't seen them before, they're acetate plastic. I'll tell you where you will have seen them if you've bought the clear stamps is in the stamp case, and all of the stamps would be stuck onto a thick sheet like so, and then you would have a thinner sheet of plastic as well. The thicker sheet you can use to do the techniques that I'm doing, so don't throw them away. They you can clean them up a bit so that you don't have, I don't know if you can see, there are slight lines, but you can use it for some of the techniques without worrying about the lines, or you can just buff them up a bit and clean them so that you don't have the lines. But the 12 by 12 sheets, obviously, that we sell don't come with any lines on them at all. We have also sold some different coloured acetate and some speciality, so like this gold celebrations, which I've got somewhere. I've put it down. I keep putting things down and then can't find them at the moment, so I really need a good sort out. This is also window sheet paper, but it's got obviously gold and silver on this one, and there are various other sorts that we've had over the time that you can use. But for today, I'm going to be using the clear, and there's a number of different techniques you can do with it. So the first one I'm going to show you actually uses up lots and lots of strips. So you may remember that I've said before now, you can use all of the bits that we cut off from when we're cutting the cardstock down to make the card bases. So all you need to do is stick them on to the acetate. And I'm going to use Tombow for this because it will be covered up obviously by the cardstock strips. So you can start, you don't need big pieces, you can cut them down. And actually I know I'm going to use some of the purples first of all, and the greens. These are from, that one's a bit wide, these are from doing the card packs the other week. Okay, so I'm going to start with this gorgeous grape. I'm just gonna put a thin line when the glue decides it's going to work. Bear with me. I nearly went into my Miranda mode then, and her friend who goes, bear with. If you don't watch Miranda Hart, then that will have made no sense whatsoever to you. Right, so just going to stick it down and try not to, I don't want it to sort of splurge out. And this one I'm just going to leave a bit of a gap between each piece. You'll be able to see it building up in a moment. And this is only a thin gap. You can leave a thicker gap. If I lift this up, see, so you can see there's a little gap just between. You can use design the series paper with this, or just cardstock. You can print, stamp on the cardstock first of all. I'm not going to go any further up to the top because I'm going to be cutting a circle. So I just need to repeat the process for a bit longer. Try and do it the right way so that I don't mess the pattern up. You can cut out any shape really that you've got dies for with this. It'll work with any of the shapes. Do a few more. Lines. I haven't actually cut my window sheet down to a rough size. I'm going to use one of these deckled circles, probably not, yeah, that one. I think the others will be too big, so don't need much more on here. I've put that one on wrong. Let's move that out the way and put this green in. Then that one can go. Next. See how much. Okay, so that will fit onto there. Just cut that bit off because we don't need those. And I'm going to bring in my big Stamp and Emboss because of the size of the window sheet and also the size of the circle that I want to cut out. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so just pop that on. And hopefully it will run through without knocking the camera. And then, so this is what you end up with. This glue will come off. I've got a glue rubber, but I quite like these because it's got that sort of ragged edge on it rather than it being totally circular. Pop that out the way. Right, I'm just going to leave that to dry a little bit while I find my card base. It's just a plain white card base, nothing fancy, but you'll be able to see that one's not stuck down quite enough. To put some more glue on. It looks quite striking against a white white base. So I've got so many bits of card cut, but I'm gonna just do a second layer so that I can stamp on it first. And I'm going to use what am I going to use? Sorry, I've lost this is the one I'm going to use. This is the Sweetly Scripted. It's available now online. I've seen the mail cards that I made last week were using the happy birthday. I'm going to use the happy anniversary one, I think, this time, so I'm just going to find that. It's this one. So it does fit. I just thought I'd better check, make sure. And I'll just just pop this label on. You've got to be quite careful with these because the once it's stuck to the foam, it's very difficult to then get off. So it's definitely worth taking a bit of time. Okay, so the happy anniversary does fit just about, and I'm going to do that in a nice dark colour. I think I'm going to use my Gorgeous Grape. then this I'm going to put on with some mini dimensionals. Again, great way of using up your little bits, cut them into little strips. All for saving money and using up all the little tiny bits. Ooh. I do get a bit fiddly, especially when your fingers are covered in glue. But just pop another in the middle. Okay, so this is actually called the floating strips or the floating circle technique, depends on where you look. I'm going to stick that piece back on in a minute, but I want to put this down first of all, and then I'm just going to grab a little bit of glue just to stick that bit where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then I've cut out, because this is all the colours from the lavender suite, I've cut out some bits, and I'm just gonna add a couple of pieces of die cuts onto these, so it gives it a bit of extra. I believe these little flowers fit, but they might not. Ooh, you can't pick them up. This is half the problem. They're a bit, once you get them on the table, they don't pick up very easily. Let's see if I can pick up one more of those. I'm not sure that they do go on there, to be honest. So I'm not gonna put them on. I'm going to take those off and leave them for another bit. I'm going to put these together. Along with this, I'm just going to trim that so that they're all the same size. Okay, so that can then go onto the card base. So I'm doing this on white. You could do it on a coloured card base. I'm just going to add some bit of sparkle to it. Okay, so there's the first technique of first technique you can use acetate for, a floating circle or floating strips. And again, you can do it, as I say, you can do it with any shape, just leaving the gap in between, and it's quite a nice technique to do. Okay, so that's that one. Just remove some of these bits out of the way a moment. Okay, so the next one, I've got a card base that will stand up like that. Once I've found a bone folder, so it's 11.5 inches scored at 5 3/4, and it will stand like that when it's finished. But what I'm going to do first of all is on one side I'm going to chop. That's 1.5 inches off of there. And then I'm going to chop another 1.5 inches out and stick with this. And then I want to just cut this down. Okay, so I need a strip that is going to be 4 inches wide. This one's covered in glue, so I'm actually going to get another piece. Okay, so this needs to be 4 inches wide. So just make sure it's flat and that you've got a really good hold of it. It's probably better to go upwards on with your trimmer, because it can sort of wiggle a bit. So it's 1.5 inches I've cut out of the whole card. So if I go to 2 inches, it will give me that overlap that I need. And all these little bits, don't throw them away, because that can be used for another technique. And even the bits that are a bit gluey can be used on another technique. So you need to stick this in here. So it is literally, I'm going to use some tear and tape. I can't put my hands on it at the moment, so I'm going to use my stamping seal just along the edge. Then lining that up. Okay. And then in order to line this up, I'm just going to pop this down onto the card base. It's just moved it. Okay, if you just get it square on the card base, and then you have this panel that is sort of makes it look as though there's not any card there. Okay, so I'm gonna find some patterned paper. Okay. So it needs to be 3 3/4, so it fits with the border around it, and that is 2 3/4, so I want that at 2.5 inches. So that will go there, and then the bottom piece is going to be 1 1/4. And that will go down there. Okay, and then I've got some more of these bits, so I'm just gonna stick these on first of all. Tiny bit of glue. I don't want them stuck completely down, so I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue on the back of each of those, and then again I'm just going to snip that off. Okay, so that can go on there. Like so. It's going to stick. Okay, and then I want a small piece of white. I'm going to find another sentiment for this one. I'm going to use the happy birthday one. Just and it's just going to go sort of across. It will cut most of the swirly bits off, but that's fine. Okay, I do think it's a really lovely font, this one, really nice. Then I'm just going to cut it down to the size that I want, which I'm going to start off with it as at the length going all the way across, and just trim it down and see how it looks. So it could go on there. Or it could go on onto a piece like this, I think. And the easiest way round it, because I don't know what size this is, I'm just going to glue this on. Give it an even border all the way round, and then I'm just going to cut it. So it's got a relatively even border all the way round, and then I'm going to put that on with some more dimensionals. I've got so many packs started, but they all seem to be small ones. Oh, doesn't matter. I'll cut some of these into bigger bits. Okay, and a bit of bling just to finish it off. Okay, so that's, see, there would be, I haven't finished the inside, it's just, I'm going to put this in there, and obviously you then get left with this piece, so, no, but when it's stood up, so when it's stood up it doesn't look quite the same. So while it's closed, yes, you can see that white piece of card. But once it's stood up, it looks fine. Looks fine like that anyway. But okay, so that's another one. Another way of using the acetate. So I just need to move some more bits around. And have a look what else I've written down. I've got some notes I've made, so like, you know where I'm going. Okay, And obviously one of the cards we use a lot, or I use acetate for, and is the shaker cards. This isn't, because it's a big pop out one, and it's hard to see on that background, but you can see there's sequins in there. They seem to have been a bit stuck, but I'll do a quick shaker card. I haven't cut these bases down yet, so maybe 8. I'll just cut this down to 8-inch base. Okay, so that's the standard card base. And that one's going to go in front. And I'm going to stick with using the lavender because, well, just because it's there and it's what I've got at hand at the moment. I just need to think about what I'm doing there. So I'll use some of this one. This is just cutting a layer to go on there, and then I'm going to use a piece of the other side actually, to cut it down again. I'm going to cut it at the same measurements, so those two layers will be exactly the same size if I cut them properly. What have I cut this to? Right, so that needs, so these are 5.5 and 3 3/4 of an inch. And then with this top one, I'm going to actually use the hexagonal punch for this. So you can use dies or a punch. And I'm going to line it up as best as I can. So I've now got this gap. So it's all getting a bit gluey. And then on this, because this is going to be the front of the card, I want to be able to stick some acetate onto the back of it. Just going to cut it down a little bit. Okay, so that will go on the back there. Just, I'm using the stamping seal for this. You can use you can use the tear and tape as well. The Tombow gets a bit messy, but you see that's now got a window, and the I've got some strips somewhere, but I can't find those at the moment, so I'm going to use this. It's foam, it's a foam sheet, and I'm just going to cut some strips because I want them to go all the way round the outside, but also around this bit here. So and it is just a case of building it up. By doing it around this edge, it will stop the sequins from getting too far down. So I hadn't planned on using just the lavender today, but that's the way it's gone. It is still one of my favourite all-time sets, so I'm quite happy to use it. Okay, so a few more bits of this around the edges. See, it cuts really easily, but you can buy strips that are already cut as well, so we get them in the if you've ever had, I think it's called the shaker kit. There's one of the kits that we've got, birthday shakers, I think, confetti, maybe birthday confetti or something like that. It's got the strips in there to make the shaker cards. Just stick those along there. Okay, so that will stick onto there. But what we need to do is find some I've got some shimmery sequins here, and I'm going to just want to be able to put them sort of in the centre. I don't know whether these are still, I've just picked up the first ones I've found, so I'm not sure whether these are still current or not. Possibly not, but we do have other sequins and shakery bits in the catalogue. So if you just pile a load into the middle of where the cutout's going to be, and then peel all of this all of these backing bits off. Right, I'm going to have to stand up for this so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, then you just need to line it up as best you can. And that's your shaker. Okay, so now, that's confusing, isn't it? Make sure I glue the right side. I don't think that card base is the right size, to be honest. Bear with me. No, it's slightly too big, so I'm just going to chop another bit off. If you get glue over your trimmer like I've just done, it comes off really easy with some alcohol stuff. Okay, so that's the shaker element. I'm not going to finish that, so I've run out of all my cutouts and things. So I've got nothing else to, I wasn't going to do it like this, but never mind. Okay, so that's the shaker card, and that bit will go in the middle. It will still go through, even though it's obviously a bit thicker, it will still go through the postal postal slot. With an envelope as well. There's plenty of room there, so that's just a normal stamp. You just do need to be careful then if you're layering more and putting maybe gems on the front as well, because